Good day. For our final assessment on the affective filter in ESL learning, we're here with Rupert, 50 years old, who worked as a call center agent for 8 years before transitioning to work as an English tutor. He first learned and practiced English extensively during his call center days and now uses the knowledge to help others learn. Rupert, thank you so much for joining us today and for agreeing to share your experience.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to talk about my journey from learning English to teaching it.
Let's start with our first question. Please tell me about the first time you felt really struggling with English while at work. What happened and how did you feel then?
My first week in call center, First week in the call center, I handled a call from a client in the US who was asking about billing discrepancies. They spoke quickly and used industry terms I'd never heard. Prorated charge, billing cycle, account reconciliation. I was completely lost. I tried to ask them to repeat, but I was so nervous I could barely get the words out. I felt my hands shaking, worried to mess up the call and let go right away. I felt frustrated because I knew I was capable of doing the work. I just couldn't communicate in English well enough.
Why did you really decide to study English properly? What are your main reasons?
After the tough first call, I knew I had to get better if I wanted to succeed in the job. I was supporting my own education at the time, and the call center work helped me pay for my courses behind keeping my job. I wanted to feel confident instead of anxious every time I pick up the phone. As I kept at it, I realized how valuable strong English skills could be, not just for work, but for opening more opportunities in life. That's when I started thinking about maybe teaching it someday too.
Have you ever had a time when you felt comfortable speaking English at work or while studying? What caused that sense of ease?
About a year into the job, our team got a new floor supervisor, Mr. Dave, who organized weekly practice sessions. He'd us pair up and act out different call scenarios. He gave us feedback that was helpful, not harsh. One day after a role play, he said, Rupert, you have a knack for explaining things clearly. You just need to polish your grammar a bit. That's complete.
Compliment.
That compliment made me feel so good. Having someone who believed in me and instructed way to practice made English feel less intimidating and more manageable.
When you find learning English difficult, like struggling with grammar or vocabulary, what keeps you going and makes you not give up?
Tenses were tricky for me. Mixing up I have cold and I had cold was something I did all the time. There were days I'd spend hours studying and still get confused. And I'd think about just settling for being good enough. But my teammates and I formed a study group. We'd quiz each other during breaks, make cheat sheets for common mistakes, and even records ourselves speaking to spot errors. Also, knowing that improving my English could lead to a better career. Maybe even teaching pushed me to keep working at it.
How do you feel about native English speakers you talk to at work or outside? Do you feel accepted by them?
Many clients were patient. When they noticed I was processing what they said, they slowed down and rephrased things in simpler terms. Those moments made me feel respected and encouraged me to keep improving. But there were also some who'd get frustrated and say things like, "Why don't they train you better?" Those comments stung and made me doubt myself at first. But over time, I learned that their reactions says more about them than it does about my English skills.
How does your environment at work or your study English affect your learning?
At the call center, we had a speak English only policy during shift hours. At first, I hated it because I was self conscious, but it forced me to practice constantly. No one laughed when I made mistakes, and we all helped each other out. The supported space made a huge difference. When I studied at home through, it was hard to focus. I lived with my extended family, so there was always noise or someone needing help. I ended up setting up a small study corner in our backyard where it was quiet, and that made my self study much more effective.
What do you think about the words or culture related to English use at work? Does it help you or cause difficulties?
At first, the call all the call center jargon was overwhelming. Average handled time, first call resolution, after call work. I didn't see the point of using those terms instead of plain language. But once I learned that they meant, I understood how they made communication faster and more efficient among the team. I also pick up on the cultural norms like how important it is to greet clients by name or to end calls with clear next steps. That cultural understanding not only helped me at work but also makes it easier to teach my students now.
Have you ever felt embarrassed while speaking English at work or somewhere else? How did you deal with that feeling?
I once told the clients I will check your account and call you back tomorrow. Please wait my call. I immediately realized I should have said, "Wait for my call." The clients gently corrected me, and I felt my face burn with embarrassment. After the call, my trainer pulled me aside and said that even experienced agents make mistakes, and that correcting them is how we grow. That talk helped me shape my mindset. Now I tell my own students that mistakes are just part of the learning process, not something to be ashamed of.
Rupert, thank you so much for sharing your journey from learning English to now teaching it.
You're welcome. I hope my story shows that anyone can improve their English with the right support and mindset.
Now, let's analyze Rupert's experience based on key theories of language learning and share some reflections from what we've learned. First, let's look at Krashen's affective filter hypothesis. This theory focuses on emotional factors that influence language learning. When Rupert faced difficult clients or made grammar mistakes, feelings or anxiety, frustration, and embarrassment raised his affective filter, creating barriers to learning and communication. When he received support from his supervisor, teammates, and kind clients, he felt safe and valued, this lowered his filter, allowing him to absorb new information more easily and build confidence. Next, in motivation theory, Rupert initially had instrumental motivation, learning English to keep his job and pay for his education. As he progressed, he developed both integrative motivation, wanting to connect with clients and understand different cultures, and intrinsic motivation, finding fulfillment in mastering the language and eventually teaching it. These layers of motivation gave him the resilience to overcome challenges. Finally, affective relations theory. How connection and acceptance shape learning, his support system, colleagues and supervisors, and even understanding clients provide encouragement and practical help that kept him on track. While negative interactions were difficult, he learned to reframe them as part of the process rather than the personal failures, which helped him maintain his focus on growth. Reflection as Rupert's story offers powerful insights into what it takes to succeed as an ESL learner, especially for adult learners navigating professional and personal responsibilities. First, it's clear that emotional safety is foundational to learning. When Rupert felt judged or anxious, his ability to learn suffered. But when he was in a supportive environment where mistakes was seen as an opportunities, he thrived. This reminds us that educators and employers need to create spaces where learners feel comfortable taking risks. Second, motivation evolves over time and having multiple reasons to learn makes a big difference. What started as a practical need to keep his growth into a passion for teaching and connecting with others across cultures. This shows that helping learners find personal meaning in their studies can sustain them through difficult moments. Third, community matters deeply. Rupert didn't learn English alone. His study group, supervisor, and even patient clients played critical roles in his progress. For many learners, especially adults balancing multiple commitments, having people who believe in them and share the journey can make the difference between giving up and pushing forward. Fourth, adaptability and mindset are key. When his home environment was too distracting, Rupert created a dedicated study space. When faced with criticism, he learned to separate his self-worth with his current skill level. This ability to adapt and frame challenges is essential for a long-term success. The skills and insights he gained aren't just helping him, they're enabling him to support other learners who may be facing the same struggle he once did. In the end, his story proves that learning is a language isn't just about mastering grammar and vocabulary. It's about growing as a person, building connections, and opening doors to new possibilities. That's our presentation on Rupert's experience with ESL learning and the effective filter. Thank you for watching.